The reality of training in the middle of a mining boom. Welcome to Australian Mining for New Starters, and in today's video I just wanted to talk about how the employers are all having the same problem. It's one of those things that we go through every time we go through a big boom like we're in at the moment. This is our map loaded up with all the gold mines and the base metal mines around the country that are producing everything that's going into these batteries that are going to save the planet, and gold that we're exporting overseas to China and India and other such places. So that's where the real growth is in at the moment with the mining jobs. There's lots around. The only issue is with the training, unfortunately, because safety and training, they end up doing more paperwork than they do training. So what ends up happening is when you learn how to drive one of these things underground is that they will put you in a simulator to start with on the surface, so you'll end up in something like this with most of the mines, which gives you a little bit of an idea before you get there. You'll do a whole heap of inductions, but then when you get to site, you won't actually get the safety and training person. They'll be too busy doing paperwork and everything else they've got to do on site. So what ends up happening is that you'll get a buddy. And if you have a look at these trucks, you sit here and the buddy sits behind you on a dicky seat, and all the dicky seat is a fold down seat with no support or anything like that in there. So it's not a very pleasant place to sit for a long period of time. So what ends up happening is that if you're lucky, you'll get somebody with 3 to 6 to 9 months to 12 months experience that's actually going up onto the next job, like service crew or pace crew or something like that, and their job is to train you up on their truck and they're leaving. If you're unlucky, you might get somebody that their job at the moment is just to train people. So that can fall one or two ways. They can be a really nice person that's pretty hopeless, and the reason that they're training people on trucks is because they can't get any higher, and that's unfortunately the case in a lot of places. There are some nice people around, but they don't always pass on the best knowledge about how it all works, because if they knew how it all works, they still wouldn't be stuck in this position. The other person you get is the person that is stuck training people that doesn't want to train people anymore because they felt that they got overlooked for the promotion above, or they feel that they're being used up as training people all the time, or they've had enough of sitting on the dicky seat in the back. And I've seen a lot of people like that before not do a very good job training people because they want to stop being relied on to train people. So an easy way to stop, training people is to have all your trainees fail. And I've unfortunately been on mine sites before when I've seen that happen. It's just, that's one of the whole reasons that we wrote the training back in the day as shift bosses. The DIY and the work ready package, it used to be a 3-day sit down course. The last big boom that we got into in 2006 2007 with nickel and gold all at the same time, that went to the end of 2013, it was just a nightmare with trying to retain people. And that's how the whole idea of the training came out, because the other issue was once you got to site, you needed to be shown how it all worked, and if your buddy didn't know, what sort of chance were you going to get? So we wanted to put into all this training, all the information that your buddy should be showing you underground when they're teaching you how to drive one of these trucks. So if they don't know, you know, and you can just get in it and go. Because as soon as you can start driving it around and reversing it in and getting in and out of the loading bays quickly, they'll have you on your own before you can blink. Because that's the whole idea. When they've got 2 people in one of these trucks, it normally means that there's a truck parked up, or there's a job that's not being done, because the person that's training you should be off doing something else. That's just the reality of the situation. It's not anybody's fault. It's the reality of the situation for all the mining companies. They've all got the same issues, unfortunately. It's all, it's Australia-wide. It's not anywhere in particular, and it's not anybody's fault. It's just the way it is. Every time we go into a great big boom like we're in at the moment with gold and base metals, they just pour through people, unfortunately. And, sometimes you're at the luck of the draw, and because everybody turns over more than 50% of they're green new starters. Nobody blinks an eyelid when people fail. And yeah, you know, people do get the raw end of the stick all the time just because of what happens around the place. But that's, you know, that's mining, unfortunately. And that's what this channel's about, is trying to educate you to the fact of what you're exactly getting yourself into. And like I said, it's nobody's fault. It's just, you know, it's just a boom. It's what it is. You know, you go through these things when you go into a downturn and safety and training doesn't have a lot to do, then they train everybody. But that's not the situation we're in at the moment. We're in a flat out boom where everybody's ramping up and everybody's trying to put people on. You can go on to Seek and you can see all the safety and training jobs come up that are around the place. They're looking for, you know, workers, and they're looking for people to train them. It's just, you know, it just is what it is. It's middle of a boom, and so when we go through this sort of stuff, this is what happens. So the best way to get round it, and that's why we wrote the training, was to educate yourself. If you want some help doing it, then have a look at the Work Ready one. That's the one where we review your resume and get one of our shift bosses to help prep you with all the mining information, so you can hold that conversation with the foreman in the interview. But you know, there's no end of mines around the country that are looking for people. It's just a matter of giving them what they want, somebody that knows how their mine works. And you know, that's the reality of training, unfortunately, in the middle of a boom. Safety and training ends up doing a lot of paperwork, and you get a buddy to show you the job down the hole, and then, you know, it's sort of up to the mining gods to how you're going to go from there. And yeah, that's the reality of it, unfortunately. So like I said, it's nobody's fault. It's just the, you know, the way it is and the way it has been every time that I've been through a boom, and this is no different. So the best way around it is to educate yourself before you go, so you can yeah, hit the ground running and give it your best shot possible, and not rely on other people to do their job properly when, you know, there's a good chance that the people aren't in place to do the necessary tasks. It just is what it is. So I hope you found that information helpful, and if you could share this information around and like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks.